Good morning, Donna, from the sunny tropical moon. We're probably out there in the bikini, soaking up the sun. Fine. You universalists, yeah. Good morning, human. Yeah, you're probably out there in your bikini, soaking up the sun. An engineered storm. Seed outing at its finest. The storm is especially wet here, even though we are in the negative. Hey, specialist, gave the first thumbs up. Sweet. Yeah. By the way, everybody else didn't do the thumbs up, right? As soon as you come in, don't forget, because it supposedly helps the algorithms promote the channel. Morning, Mac. Specialist. Okay, I'm turning off the car snow travel video. Tell me if that unmuffles the sound. I'm guessing it picks up the low rumble of the traveling car and thus muffles the sound. Testing, testing, testing without the car video. Ready? Go back to the car video and now. Mr. Spen. Mr. Howdy. Give me a sound check, baby.
Sound check.
Hello.
Sound check.
Yeah, right on. Howdy, I saw you over at Charles's seminary. You
Oh,
were
yeah.
in with a bunch of others. I didn't hear you talk very much except just to say hello. And I didn't stay very long. I was actually typing in the side chat, but none of my type was showing up. So I figured that he must be doing a dual stream because chat was showing up on something that Charles could see, but he didn't. He didn't pull up any of my comments from the side, which is understandable. But I didn't see anybody else's comments either. So he must have been doing two streams at once. Like one on YouTube and one on some other platform.
Yeah, I think one was a horizontal stream and the other was a vertical stream. He does double streams to YouTube or something.
Really? That seems like a waste to just do the double stream on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
did
sure.
that one time when the double stream of option came out. I accidentally clicked on the double stream and it was double streaming on YouTube. It was what do you call it? A nightmare, production nightmare for me. Like, because then I had to factor in this button and that button. Hello, welcome back.
How's it going? You guys getting any snow?
The Saints on the East Coast are. Maine and Michigan are reporting. Donna and Mac the Human are reporting snow, but here in the Salt Lake Valley, just some frost. I'm waking up to frost. That's it.
Where I live, howdy. We've recently been getting sunny skies, but the Arctic freeze over in Wisconsin and anyone that's in the Midwest. So it's mainly been the Arctic freeze over here.
So the title of today's show, Howdy, is about Christians laughing at sinners burning in hell because yesterday a Christian stopped by to visit with me and he was laughing at sinners burning in hell. And since I couldn't get anywhere in the argument against him, I decided, okay, let's play along. So I said, okay, Tim Theo, I'm going to play along. You win the debate, and I'm going to laugh at sinners burning in hell. I said, Tim, how am I doing? Does my laughter sound sincere? He was not amused.
Well, you'll have eternity to practice your laugh, Adam.
So, what was Charles's seminary about on the day you visited?
I was there a couple times. It was an open panel trying to have a conversation or debate whether or not once saved, always saved is true, but not very many people showed up for that other than people who believed in no sass. I think Jill showed up for a bit and some others.
Jill believes in that?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought he was a Calvinist.
Yeah, but they don't think you can lose your salvation.
Oh, yeah. I should have clicked in, but as I said, I was on the narrow stream of it, not the wide one, and I don't think the join button was available, but I should have joined in because I'm the most outspoken against once saved, always saved in one regard. I argue that the once is the problem because all of the Christians say that you're not saved until you believe that you are saved. And so I say, once you're saved at the cross, and there's no other time period in which you are saved, and you are saved at the cross, and that's the once that these knuckleheads should be talking about. It's not when they believed, confessed, repented, and obeyed, and paid tithes and all that stuff. No, it's at the cross you are saved, and once you are saved, you really are saved. You can't undo it because you weren't there at the cross to argue with Jesus and say, "Hey, don't go up there. I can do it myself." I don't need your help, God. I got a free will. I can save myself. Just watch this. Hold my beer. So how do you think that argument would have gone over with Charles?
So from what I understand of Charles and this other guy, PB and some of the other people in that community, they're not in the habit of debating against universalism because they think, well, if universalism is true, then whatever.
I noticed they have not acknowledged me, and they have said things like, "This is not our topic. We don't want to talk to you." And I always thought it's because they thought they might lose ground with their people. But you're saying it's another reason, I think.
Well, that's the reason I was told, and they sounded sincere when they told me that. Because, like if then they don't need to worry about much of anything, is how they see it.
Okay,
So they're worrying about, there's like big fish to fry, and
right.
universalism is like a little minnow that doesn't matter too much.
So they're addicted to their worry.
Yeah.
So they're really into the work because it might save a few people who would otherwise go to hell. But if universalism is true, we might as well walk away from the ministry because there's nothing to talk about.
And it's like pack it up.
Uh-huh. My attitude is different on that matter, because I think if universalism is true, this is wild and good, and we should be telling everybody.
I would say that regarding universalism, they say that man is going to be saved regardless, which I can see. But are they is universalism the story of man being saved regardless, or is it about what God and Christ are doing to be saving man?
That's a hell of a good way to put it there, Mr. Sven.
Because I don't know about you two, but that universalism word is just not adding up. Something's not right there. But it's just me.
Some people call it like reconciliation. It's just like a reconciliation view. I guess that's like the biblical word. I don't think the word universal is in the Bible. So if you wanted to be picky and choosy with your words. Maybe some of them would say something like that.
Sure, but I would ask, like, from how I see it, people use universalism, this word, in religion, but there are what, three, four other major religions. So I wonder how those religions view their universalism, if there's a such thing. So there's that. And then there's even the term of universalism even outside religion. So what are like what are what are the Christians actually trying to argue? That's what I ask.
Hey, Howdy, I got something to share with you. Since I know you kind of like this channel, and you're rooting for us.
Yeah.
Um, I discovered something in 1 Corinthians 15 that I hadn't seen before, and it was just laying right there the whole time. It's not a great, doctrinal revelation, but Paul opens up 1 Corinthians 15 by saying, "There's some jackasses in your, community who say that there is no resurrection from the dead. Well, let me tell you." And then he continues on for 50 some verses, right? And my discovery was this. I always before, and this was just, a week ago, always before, I just read it through, didn't even think about the dynamics going on. But my discovery was, thank God that there were some false teachers in Corinth teaching that there is no resurrection from the dead. Otherwise, Paul might not have wrote the whole chapter of 1 Corinthians 15. So I came into an appreciation of the Corinthian knuckleheads who were teaching the false doctrine. And so it helped me, have a new appreciation for JG and Jill and Eric and all those guys who have harassed this channel. Yay! Keep it up, boys. Give us something to talk about. Anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because where would we be without Paul's letters?
Right.
And most of Paul's letters are occasional. Like there's something that cropped up that he has an occasion to write the letter for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you could say, in essence, Paul's letters were a version of YouTube. It was his version of YouTube because, there was a lot of personal stuff in all of Paul's letters. He's dealing with Hymenaeus and Alexander the coppersmith. And, there's this brother who's sick and almost died. And so he's got to talk about that a little bit. And these horny boys in the Corinthian church. You got to talk about that. So it's like gossip session, just reading between the lines and seeing the backstory in Paul's letters.
Paul's letters are pretty amazing.
Did Deborah ever go get the link from Tent Maker for that page of all those Christians laughing at the notion of sinners burning in hell? Because the chat does scroll a bit, and I didn't see her. Well, can somebody go get that link? Thank you.
Was there a pack of them of like a howling hyena like?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I read it years ago over on tentmaker.org. There's this one, I think Gary Amoralt went through the trouble of quoting all kinds of famous preachers like Spurgeon and stuff, saying how wonderful hell will be for those sinners to be in torment forever, and laughing about it. So I thought we'd read some of them.
Speaking of laughing, one interesting thing. I know you're not a big fan of extra biblical literature, but one interesting thing about the New Testament authors like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is that Jesus never laughs.
That's pretty interesting. He does weep one.
Yeah, except and then on one occasion, the shortest verse in the Bible, he wept or had tears. And the contrast, at least to me, because I don't have this view of, the Bible's the only sort of thing worth reading. But the contrast to me was Socrates, this guy. And he never cried. And then before he died, he laughed. Right. And I think that was like one of the only times he laughed. I was like, what's going on here? I don't know. I don't want to get into that though, but I just thought it was interesting.
How big is your library, Howdy?
About the size of my thumb. It's on a thumb drive.
Oh, yeah. Many years ago, I visited Thomas Jefferson's home in Virginia and took the tour. And in his own personal library, there were 3,000 books, and the tour guide said, oh, there's 3,000 books here and so forth. And I thought, oh, my goodness, I guess that's what you need to be a man or a thinker or whatever. So I decided to build up my library to be about 3,000 books. And I actually achieved it. I have a library of 3,000 books, but recently I pared it down to 2,000 or so. But since you mentioned extra biblical literature,
What'd you think about it?
I see a lot of good in a lot of literature. And the fact that Socrates laughed, I guess that's normal.
Yeah, I guess it's the state of humanity, I guess, before the cross. Was it a comedy or a tragedy?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was something of a tragedy.
Or both, because if it's not funny now, it soon will be.
Yeah.
The other day I was watching the TV show called Castle. Have you ever seen Castle?
I don't think so.
It's a detective show, and the premise is that Mr. Castle is a crime novelist, and so he gets a free pass to hang out with the detective squad so he can find inspirational ideas for his next novel. Anyway, in one scene there was a tragedy and a comedy all rolled up in one with just one comment, and it went like this. There was a con artist in this episode who had been killed, and they were trying to figure out who killed the con artist. and they brought in one lady that he had conned many thousands of dollars out of, and so they were accusing her, you killed him, and so she had to defend herself, and in the interrogation room. And so in the discussion, she says, "Have you ever been duped, Mr. Castle?" And Castle said, "Well, I was married 3 times." I thought that was funny. And Ace laughed alone.
I don't. My humor is kind of strange. I laugh at like really random stuff.
Well, so it was a tragedy that Castle got married 3 times. And then in the interview, he says, "Yeah, I was duped 3 times." So that's my phrase. If it's not funny now, it soon will be. Because
Yeah, have you ever? I don't know. Maybe you're too old, but do you ever remember your childhood and crying about stuff, and then looking back and laughing at how silly the stuff it was you were crying over? Like even if if you can remember like when you were really little and like maybe you lost a little plastic 5-cent nickel toy and you were bawling your tears out, and looking back it's just like kind of funny to cry about that.
Yeah, there was a brother on this channel. You may know him. Ben Abraham said that he told his son was crying over a woman, teenage son. He was crying over a woman, and he told his son, "Son, I have cried over girls in the past whose names I can't even remember now."
Right.
"Oh yeah, I remember you. I cried over you. What's your name?"
So maybe to the fellas that you were talking to, maybe eternal conscious torment is the tragedy / comedy.
That's funny because we're horrified by it and they're laughing at it. Maybe they're laughing, because in some psychologists, they say you laugh when you don't know what to say. Maybe they're laughing because they secretly don't believe hell, but they got to give lip service to it for their parishioners. So, how many books do you have on your thumb drive?
Quite a lot. I don't know if I could put a number.
A
few hundred, maybe.
You got any special genre of literature you're reading these days?
No, I've been reading books that everyone says that I have to read, like what's called the Western canon, all the important stuff.
Uh,
that I'm going to be uncultured for if I don't read. So
would Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn be in that Western canon?
so for American, it's just stuff like Emily Dickinson, Waldo Emerson, Walt Whitman, Herman Melville, and some other people.
Man, I love some of those guys. At one time I kind of worshipped Emerson. I had all of his writings at one time.
Making my way. There's too much to read. You know what I mean? Like all the books that there are, there's only so many you could read in a lifetime. Even if you read like one a day.
In my experience, if I find a good book, I will read it several times. I have some books that I've read 10 times.
What's the one you've come back to the most?
The one I've read the most is either Think and Grow Rich or a book called Breakthrough Advertising by Gene Schwartz. Breakthrough Advertising is about deep psychology and the movements of markets. It opens up on the opening page. It says, regarding advertising, it says, you don't need a better mousetrap. You need a bigger, nastier rat. Isn't that cool? You had to be there.
Maybe I'll check it out.
If you actually want to read that book, at one time it was the most stolen book in the U.S. library system, and it's out of print now. And if you go on Amazon, you can find copies for 300, 400, 500 bucks, but it is worth it.
I think on the psychology side of things, work that sticks out to me is a very pessimistic fellow by the name of Arthur Schopenhauer. And another one that comes to mind is Nietzsche. And my main takeaway from him was like everyone sort of has this will to power driving them.
A will to power.
Yeah.
And so if they don't have a will to power, they must be mentally ill.
I'm not sure. I think even he would say that they have a will to power too.
What about a Down syndrome kid who's just happy with his own life? Would you still? How would he define that as a will to power?
the same way you would like do it in even less intelligent stuff like animals or birds, or they have desires that drive them, and then
Kind of like saying
in
we
order
all,
to, yeah, I mean that's I mean everyone agrees with that, but he says, well, you also sort of need you also will the means of being able to satisfy your desires, and so you're going to need to control your environment to some extent and
I
enact
see.
your will on your surroundings.
So we all want more time, more sex, and more money, and therefore we do this, or this. Was it helpful to you to read his essay?
Yeah, I think he's probably worth reading.
Schopenhauer, huh?
Oh no, Schopenhauer is the guy who says that sort of like pain and evil is the only thing that exists, and then good and pleasure is just the absence of pain. And his psychology is you have your desire, and then there's two ways it can go. Either you don't satisfy it and you're in pain, or you satisfy it and you're out of pain for a time, but very quickly a new desire crops up and you're back to step one.
Huh.
I think his famous quote is, "Man is like walking in a beautiful field, but with a rain cloud only over his own head, and wherever he walks, it's still raining on him."
What a
Where you think like getting to somewhere and being there will make you happy, but no matter where you go, you're gonna be in the same situation you always were. Sort of like Ecclesiastes.
Mm-hmm.
And so his solution, because he was also reading, Eastern philosophy, was this sort of Buddhist idea where you sort of try to ignore your will and try to, I forget the Buddhist thing, the 4 or 5 points that they have, where it's like life is suffering, the origin of suffering is desire. So you're supposed to try to jettison your desires or something like that.
So it sounds like busy work.
Yeah, worse than yeah. That's the. So this is sort of like one of the big ideas in German existential philosophy, is this problem that Schopenhauer put on the table for everyone. Nietzsche was sort of mainly responding to him, and I think Albert Camus. So the busy work idea, right? The main thing that comes to my head is the myth of Sisyphus, where because some god helped the humans or whatever, now he's got to get punished, and the worst punishment they could think of was that every day he has to roll the rock up the hill, and then every night it rolls down the hill, and he goes back down the next day and rolls it up the hill. And apparently this is like the worst punishment imaginable. And according to Schopenhauer, that's the life everyone has, because you can read it like you have this desire and you're pushing the rock up the hill, working to satisfy your desire, but every night the rock rolls back down when you get a new one. So it's this pointless labor.
A lot of psychology going on out there. Psychologizing. Yeah, who could argue with that? That by and large, it does look like every day we roll a rock up the hill. We start again the next day. Nothing better to do. Let's roll that rock up the hill. It does appear that everybody out there in the world is addicted to frustration. And rolling a rock up the hill, oh, that is extremely frustrating.
Yeah, that was so there's a couple of solutions. One is that you refuse to roll the rock, and that's sort of like the Buddhist mentality. The second is you think eventually the rock will stay up and not roll back down. And that was sort of the religious response, that everything's going to get better someday. And then Nietzsche said that the pleasure was that you have to find joy in rolling the rock or something like that up the hill. And then
Sweet.
I think Camus said you have to enjoy watching it roll back down or something like that. And those are the 4 possibilities you can take on it.
So after studying this venue of thinking, how would you see Paul as a psychologist, and how would you see Jesus as a psychologist?
Well, there's the that would be the you hope that one day that well, I guess it depends on your soteriology, because it would either be that one day you hope you roll the rock up the right hill and it'll stay there, or I guess if you're a universalist, you'll say that God will put the rock up there and it'll stay there. Or maybe you could view it as because obviously Sisyphus is condemned, so maybe it would just be that he's restored. It's like, okay, no more pushing rocks. You done that enough.
Well, I wasn't thinking about soteriology so much as just plain old raw psychology, like the way Paul dealt with the James gang who were screwing over the Galatian churches, or how Paul dealt with Hymenaeus and Philetus and Alexander the coppersmith, or how Jesus dealt with the Pharisees when the Pharisees said, "Should we pay taxes?" Or when the Pharisees brought him a woman caught in adultery, "Should we stone her?" So, just looking at that psychology, how would you rate? Go ahead.
So what happens in dialogues with Jesus where someone tries to ask something really sharp and pointed, and Jesus usually just throws them a parable or something. Usually what happens is whoever Jesus is talking to sort of gets hoisted up by their own petard. Like what they said sort of in some way hurts their position or something like that.
Yeah.
For Paul, it's like he has like a more pastoral teacher thing where everyone else is just kind of has mushy brains or something like that, you'd say. And he's just saying, like, what the heck are you guys doing? It's like a child. It's like a, parent. It's more like a parent-child relationship with Paul, generally. There's some kid, putting his finger in the outlet and electrocuting himself, and Paul saying, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see why you would say that about Paul being pastoral, because he was to a great degree with some of the boys in the movement. But with the boys who were contradictory to the movement, man, he was rough. He took psychology up to a new level. I mean, to say to the James gang that were pestering the Galatians, he says, I wish they would cut their wieners off. That's some pretty funny psychology. I wish they would cut themselves off. And
So
with Jesus,
yeah,
he was a great psychologist too, because when they said the Pharisees were trying to trap him left and right, like when in Luke 15 and 16, when they complained that he was hanging out with sinners. That was psychology on the Pharisees' part. No, you're hanging out with the wrong people. You're hanging out with sinners. And Jesus told them that 6-part parable, that 5-part parable about the rich man and Lazarus, the lost coin, the lost sheep. He was really smacking them around. So I would say that self-righteousness on the part of the Pharisees and the James gang in Paul's day, self-righteousness was just an ugly thing that everyone had to deal with. And Jesus and Paul were dealing with it, but the rest of us have to deal with it too. I mean, how do you talk to Alexander the coppersmith, who's just bad-mouthing the movement altogether? And how do you make friends with Jesus and his disciples when you think, ew, they're hanging around with the wrong people, sinners? I'm holding my nose. To deal with a self-righteous person like a Pharisee or Alexander the coppersmith, man, they can't even see their own unpleasantness. I'm just thinking out loud. Got nothing to prove, nowhere to go. Hit it, Mr. Howdy.
No, I was just thinking, did you sort of settle self-righteousness and psychology? People, I think, have this desire to, be above others in some way or be better than. even in cases where they're not, like they'll sort of, even if they don't want to go put in all the effort of actually being like a better person, they want to at least say that they are, or something like that, and then have some quip or slogan that they think makes them
I think the most spiritual attitude you can crawl into is the attitude of giving a fellow an even break. Instead of assuming they're wrong and assuming the wrong information about the information you just got. So my little phrase, if there's water on the carpet, it's there for a reason. That works for me. It helps me to slow down and say, why is there water on the carpet? What's going on here? Instead of panicking instantly.
Yeah, that goes back to what you were saying earlier, where we wouldn't have the epistles without the knuckleheads. We wouldn't have the parables without the Pharisees.
Right. So the knuckleheads and the Pharisees were making themselves miserable and everyone around them miserable. Because how do you deal with them, with the knuckleheads and the Pharisees? You can't even talk to them unless you're a great psychologist like Jesus or Paul. I have read, I bought about 70 books on psychology before I had my fill of it. And so over the years, Marty, when I finally got back into Paul, I thought, oh my God, all of these psychologists, if they're worth their salt, and I think one of the greatest ones is Albert Ellis, if they're worth their salt, they kind of stole their techniques from Jesus and Paul. Unless you want to say that it's nothing new. We've had to deal with humans and human psychology all this time anyway. So here's a fine record of it.
Yeah, so like this Western canon stuff, where I'm sort of trying to read all of the seminal works in the Western tradition. I think it all goes back to Athens and Jerusalem, and when everyone's just sort of riffing off that. Like even recent stuff, I don't like John Rawls on justice, which I think was like 50 years ago or whatever, and everyone loves quoting that. That's where it's like, how would we set up society if before we did it, everyone was in this veil of ignorance and they didn't know what the outcome would be? You wouldn't want a monarchy because you probably wouldn't be the monarch or whatever. And so when I was reading that, I was thinking that it's not that he was being completely disinterested and logically reasoned his way to like a liberal democratic republic. Probably what happened is he had in mind the end. He wanted to get to that society, and then he jury rigged all of the arguments to get there. And it's all just saying, the things you did to the least of my brothers, this you did unto me. It's essentially what it was when I was reading it. And if you already believed that, you don't need to read this book. But if you didn't believe that, the book's not gonna change your mind about it. What's funny is the John Stuart Mill said he assures us that Jesus was a consequentialist.
What does that mean?
So, like, a consequentialist essentially means that the ends of the well, in ethics, one important distinction is between means and ends. Like, you can have means to an end. So, like, sometimes you slap your kid's hand to avoid them touching the stove or something, and all things being equal, slapping the child's hand probably isn't a good thing, but depending on the consequences, like what you do, sort of determines whether or not the act is good. Yeah, in the West, I don't think you can divorce mainly Plato and Aristotle and Jesus. That's sort of been the framework, I think, in the West.
Well, speaking of consequences, have you heard of this philosopher? Hang on a second, I'll bring him up. Oh, wrong one. That's not the philosopher, that's fire.
You freaking pricks just can't ever be quenched. Your fantasies can't ever be quenched, can they? You freaking pricks! When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
Oh, that's John Stuart Mill.
Yeah, when
I
will
didn't
you
know
learn
he had a YouTube channel.
there are consequences? When will you ever learn that there are consequences? I'm not sure, but I think that kid was ranting over a video game that the makers changed, and he wasn't happy with their changes. So, in your reading, Howdy, of these Western books, which ones have pleased you the most so far?
Oh, well, definitely the three that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They're good in their own rights, but also because they we're sort of living in that world still. I liked the Spanish guy, Don Quixote, Cervantes. That was a good one. Moby Dick was great.
You read Moby Dick? All right, give us a report on Moby Dick. Because when I was reading Moby Dick, I was laughing at the dark humor.
Yeah, I saw a lot of sexual undertones in it, which surprised me. I really need to reread it. I sort of only, sometimes there's different ways of reading stuff, and I gave it the once over.
Mm-hmm. You know, that book almost disappeared. When he wrote it, nobody bought it. and it was like on the shelf for 50 years or so. And then somebody took an interest in it and actually published it after he died, 50 years after he died.
Oh,
Or something
I
like
have
that.
I have a book to recommend to you because you sort of have this idea of I remember before we were talking about like men and women, and speaking of psychology, I think the psychology of the modern Western woman is to understand that they are exactly Madame Bovary. There's this book called Madame Bovary, where the woman is sort of a romantic. She, has this, this dull life, and she sort of puts her head in these romantic novels. And I don't mean like current romantic novels. I mean like actual the period of romanticism, stuff like that. And then she isn't satisfied with her husband. I think that the main quote that I, because I'm trying to pull from it, the main quote that stuck out to me was she found in adultery all the platitudes of marriage, or something like that. And so, I mean, it's sort of like someone might interpret it as like misogynist and like view of women, but I mean, and it sounds like that when I say things like that, but it's really not. It's this tension between reality and romance, and if you take romance too far, it turns rancid, I think. So I have to say that before we get back to Moby Dick. I mean, everyone knows Moby Dick. At least everyone knows like the synopsis. Whale, eats a guy's leg or whatever, and we go get vengeance, and it doesn't work out. So something about the aesthetic of it, I guess, was this distinction in art between the beautiful and the sublime, where there's this difference where the beautiful is sort of soft, swirls, safe, contained, it's essentially feminine. It's pleasurable, like it gives you a sense of pleasure, like Fragonard, or like a perfectly, a perfectly baked cake or something. And that's contrasted with this other kind of art called the sublime, which is vast, sharp. You think of like a cliff, like standing over the Grand Canyon on the edge or something like that. It's incredible, but induces terror. And that's what I think it's an excellent depiction of that. The white whale is an excellent depiction of that. So one of the things is like, well, why white? Why is the whale white? And white is sort of associated with terror, you know, like when you have the blood drain from your face, or and also like the blank, like this sort of this vast it's hard to explain. One thing actually is it reminds me of what's the word? Aesthetically reminds me of the character of Yahweh in the Old Testament, actually. Where there's this unstoppable power beyond all comprehension, and you can't stand up to it. You can't. This is what I think the Moby Dick was. It's actually a sequel to Job.
Really?
Yeah. I
Wow.
remember when Yahweh comes out of the storm and he says at some point, you know, are you gonna fight the Leviathan? And Job cowers and says no, essentially. But this and the other guy says yes. Even though the battle is hopeless, I'm still going to take the fight. Those are some of my thoughts on it.
Well, sir, you want to hear some quotes from famous preachers about the glories of eternal conscious torment?
Sounds pretty awful, but if you think it'll be entertaining.
And so, boys and girls, thanks to Deborah, she found this for us. It's over on tentmaker.org /hell-fire-HTM. Let me make sure the thing is big enough, I guess, that you can follow along.
Yeah.
Can you read it for us?
It looks like it's going to be a pretty long letter. I can see the...
We don't have to read the whole thing. We'll probably get the gist after a portion.
Quotes from the Christian perpetuators of the mythology of hell. From Christian leaders used the pagan concept of hell to keep masses in subjection to power-hungry and evil political religious men and women. Church is an effective means of enslaving the masses than militaries. Multitudes of church leaders throughout centuries expressing similar thoughts to the ones below. Compare these to Jesus' words to the poor of the world, and it should become obvious from which spirit these men were speaking. Satan has controlled the church for a long time. It's time for a great change. The English word hell is a German Teutonic mythological origin. Any decent dictionary will make that evident. It is not evident as myth injected into thousands of denominations. Christianity and many Bible translations have grossly misrepresented the nature and character of our Heavenly Father and His plan of redemption of all mankind. We will begin with a few quotes from, followed by an army of God defamers. Question spokesperson taught God created hell for the mere enjoyment of those which view the scene from heaven.
Oh
The
my
reason their joy will be more full seeing others no more or less deserving being tortured in the most cruel manners possible. Here are some examples. Reasoning. Church leaders. Peter Lombard, master of sentences. Therefore the elect shall go forth to see the torments of the impious, seeing which they will not be grieved, but will be satiated with joy at the sight of the unutterable calamity of the impious.
Oh my God.
Martin Luther, when questioned whether the blessed will not be saddened by saying their nearest and dearest tortured answers, not in the least.
Oh my God.
Gerard, the blessed will see their friends and relations among the damned as often as they like, but without the least of compassion.
What a mess.
Andrew Elwood speaks of the saints as being overjoyed in beholding the vengeance of God, and their beholding of the smoke of the torment of the wicked as a passing delectation.
Lord have mercy.
Sam Hopkins, the display of the divine character will be most entertaining to all who love God, will give them the highest and most ineffable pleasure. Should the fire of this eternal punishment cease, it would in great measure obscure the light of heaven. And
What?
put an end to a great part of the happiness and glory of the blessed.
Oh my, it sounds like Jill. Go ahead.
These on these like, I guess, ways of looking at it, like even if I don't know, okay, Bishop Newcomb, the door of mercy will be shut and all bowels of compassion denied by God, who will laugh at their destruction, by angels and saints who will rejoice when they see the vengeance by their fellow sufferer, the devil and the damned rejoicing over their misery. Tertullian.
Now,
Yes, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere.
yeah, now we're getting somewhere.
At the greatest of all spectacles, the last and eternal judgment, how shall I admire? How laugh, how rejoice, how exult when I behold so many proud monarchs groaning in the lowest abyss of darkness. So many magistrates liquefying in fiercer flames than they ever kindled against the Christians. So many sages, philosophers blushing in red-hot fires with their deluded pupils. So many tragedians more tuneful in the expression of their own sufferings.
My
So many dancers tripping more nimbly from anguish than ever before from applause. What a spectacle when the world and its products shall be consumed in one great flame. How vast a spectacle then bursts upon the eye. What there excites my admiration. What my derision. What sight gives me joy. All I see, illustrious monarchs groaning in the darkness, philosophers as the fires consume them, poets tremble before the judgment seat of Christ. I shall hear the tragedians louder voiced in their own calamity, view play actors in the dissolving flame.
Wait, what does God have against poets?
So, yeah, this is actually old. You can tell how old this is from what he's talking about. So the poets are sort of, there's the poets and the philosophers and the statesmen. Those are like the three main groups of people according to Plato. And so I guess they're all gonna get their just desserts.
Go to Augustine.
Those who shall enter into the joy of the Lord shall know what is going on outside in outer darkness. The saints' knowledge, which shall be great, shall keep them acquainted with the eternal sufferings of the lost.
Jeez Louise.
Thomas Aquinas, in order that the happiness of the saints may be more delightful to them, and that they may render more copious thanks to God for it, they are allowed to see perfectly the sufferings of the damned, so that they may be urged the more to praise God. The saints in heaven know distinctly all that happens to the damned.
Oh, well.
Edwards, the view of the misery of the damned will double the adore of the love and the gratitude of the saints of heaven. The sight of hell's torments will exalt the happiness of the saints forever. Can the believing Father in heaven be happy with his unbelieving children in hell? I tell you, yea. Such will be his sense of justice that it will increase rather than diminish his bliss.
You know, just because you
What?
can put words on paper doesn't mean that you know anything.
Why is it like this? It's just this weird sort of gratification sense of pleasure, and this like this voyeuristic intimate knowledge of suffering. I mean, that's
Okay,
literally what is that's
Yeah, this is like
sadism.
These guys are into snuff films.
Yeah. It's sadism, I think. Sadism is just taking pleasure in the sufferings of others, so they're sadists. But it's what's weird is it's like this voyeuristic sadism because they don't want to do any of the they just want to like watch someone else do it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this weird sort of it's a certain kind of pleasure. I think it's like gratification. It's strange. God shall not pity but laugh at their calamity.
Oh my God.
I guess this is I mean maybe this is the stance you have to take in order to maintain hell. Because obviously if God does not rejoice in their suffering, he would put an end to it.
Good point.
So I guess this is the line you have to take. The righteous company in heaven shall rejoice in the execution of God's judgment and shall sing while the smoke writheth up forever.
Mercy.
What are they going to sing? I went down, down, down to a burning ring of fire. Like, what would you sing? Like, what would I want to know the lyrics to the song you want to sing. Looking at that, during America's Great Awakening, popular hymn writer Watts. Oh, here we go. Here we got a song. Beat tapping to the crisp little verse. What a bliss will fill the ransomed souls, where they in glory dwell, to see the sinner as he rolls in the quenchless flames of hell. I guess that's the song right there.
I guess so.
Saint Anthony Mary Claret. Once a soul is condemned by God, then God's friends agree in God's judgment and condemnation. For all eternity, they will not have a kind thought for this wretch. Rather, they will be satisfied to see him in the flames as a victim of God's justice.
Oh, man.
The just shall rejoice when he shall see the revenge of Psalms 57:11. They will abhor him. A mother will look from paradise upon her own condemned son without being moved. as though she had never known him.
What? These guys have an imagination that's not the same as my imagination.
The pains of hell, Ignatian spiritual exercises, consisting in 35 meditations from the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius, is explained by St. Oh, he's just saying what it was. Catholic Truth Society. What will it be like for a mother in heaven who sees her son burning in hell? That's a good question. She will glorify the justice of God. That's a good answer.
Not to me.
J.I. Packer. Love and pity for hell's occupants will not enter our hearts.
Lord.
Christian theology in plain language. Non-Christians often ask the Christian, but how can the God of love allow any of his creatures to suffer unending misery? The question is, how can he not? The fact that God is love makes hell necessary. Hell, as E.L. Mescal once said, is not compatible with God's love. It is a direct consequence of it. That was his way of stressing the fact that the very God who loves us is the one who respects our decisions. What a very respectful God.
Very.
What if someone changes their mind?
Very. God
Like, let's
must.
say you're burning and you're saying, actually, I don't like it here.
You know, that's what W.C. Fields put on his tombstone. Throughout his life, he was famous for saying, I'd rather be dead than in Philadelphia. And his tombstone says, on the whole, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
He loves us, but he does not force his love on us. To force love is to commit assault. He allows us to decide. He loves us. He encourages our response. He woos us. He pursues us. He urges us. But he does not force us because he respects us.
Oh, man.
God's wrath and punishment of the wicked, Richard Baxter. It is not a terrible thing to a wretched soul when it shall lie roaring perpetually in the flames of hell. And the God of mercy himself shall laugh at them. When God shall mock them instead of relieving them. So what's God saying here? Is he saying, I bet you, nah, 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 boo, boo, or is he saying like, bet you wish you were on this side now, don't you?
Uh,
I won't force you to love me, but this is what you get if you don't, I guess, maybe. So this is one thing. It's like he's this great respecter, right? Why so if force is bad, why wouldn't coercion be bad? I don't see how it's not like the most coercive thing. Say, well, you can love me or not, but if you don't love me, you're gonna be, tortured for eternity. Is that all of a sudden? I mean, if we're gonna make the comparison, the difference would be like, I can't even say it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just pass over it in silence. Albin Butler. Do we think that God can find torments in nature sufficient to satisfy his provoked vengeance? No. He creates new instruments more violent, pains utterly inconceivable to us. A soul for one venial sin shall suffer more than all the pains of distemper, the most violent colics, gout, and stone joined in complication, more than the most cruel torments undergone by malefactors or invented by the most barbarous tyrants.
Oh, man.
Why is he... The point of comparison here is strange. I guess God is more barbarous than the most barbarous tyrant. He's more cruel than the most cruel torturer.
Preach it, baby.
This is the idea which the Father gives us of purgatory. And how long souls may have to suffer there, we know not. God will hold sinners with one hand over the pit of hell, while he torments them with the other. Oh, it's like the analogy. It's like the you know the kid with the insects and the magnifying glass.
Yeah, that's it.
Hold with one hand and torment them in the other. Reprobate infants are vipers. Oh, I don't even want to read this. I don't want to read that. When the omnipotent and angry God, who has access to all the avenues of distress in the corporeal frame, and all the inlets to agony in the intellectual constitution, undertakes to punishment, he will convince the universe that he does not gird himself for the work of retribution in vain. John Calvin, who had some of his theological opponents burned to death in slow-burning wood, forever harassed with a dreadful tempest, they shall feel themselves torn asunder by an angry God, and transfixed and penetrated by mortal stings, terrified by the thunderbolts of God, and broken by the weight of his hand, so that to sink into any gulf would be more tolerable than to stand for a moment in these terrors.
Lord, have mercy. And we still have
Dean-
Calvinists with us to this day.
Dean of Gloucester, there is a cup of trembling and wrath. Your hand must take it, your mouth must drink it, but you can never drain it. There is no last drop. Infinite vengeance ever fills it to the brim. Eternal wrath is ever bringing more. What is the curse? It is the endless accumulation of all the miseries which God's resources can command and God's power can inflict. It is the fiery torment from the lake of fire. It is the pain which cannot be keener, despair which cannot be blacker, and anguish which cannot be more bitter. It is eternity with the oneness of all torment, Christ in all. Well, that's what he meant. You know how you always shrug your shoulders at what it means for God to be all in all? Well,
Yeah.
we
There we
we
go.
figured it out. This needs like a laugh track of them guffawing over, like they'll say something like after millions of years it will only be gone, and then it'll say or something like that. God's wrath in hell will be always wrath to come. Few are so tossed in this world, but they have some rest. There are a few tempests with some lulls between the storm, but there is no pause in that storm which falls upon the inhabitants of hell. Sin in thee and the injury of it to God is an eternal stain which hellfire cannot eat out or satisfy God, but in an eternity of time.
Well, I think I've had enough of that horse shit.
Hey, Ace, when you get the chance, can you send me the link to that? Because that is...
Yeah. I'll
sounds
put
like...
it in the public and the private comment section.
Okay. Because I might have a hard time reading it, but it sounds like I'm in a movie theater watching a horror movie.
Uh-huh. And my
There
comment.
they are. They're the sticks right there. We're watching them burn.
So just because you can put pen to paper doesn't mean you know what the hell you're talking about. A fine demonstration of written idiocy. You can grab it there too, Howdy, or when you want to share it with Layman Seminary. Can you guys keep yourselves entertained? I'm going to go refill my coffee because I'm cold and my hands are cold. I'll be right back. And don't drag anyone to hell. Oh, there's a fire. Warm in my mind. Comforting, not like hell. Did I miss anything, Howdy?
No. I got some peppered beef jerky.
I'm jealous. Okay, now for your entertaining pleasure, Mr. Howdy, here is the conversation I had last night with a man who loves hell and hellfire. You know what I mean? He just loves it.
A Calvinist. Who are you talking to?
It was he's a Freewiller, but he loves hell as much as the Calvinists do. His name is profane, thrashers of fathers and thrashers of mothers, homicide, testing. Can you hear me? This is Tim Theo.
Hold on.
Testing. We are waiting to hear about the evangel of the glory of the happy God from Tim Theo. Hello, Tim Theo. Go ahead, over.
Yes, I see we can't get my audio working very well.
I can hear you
I'll
just fine.
do it this way. Okay. Yeah.
So tell us about
yeah.
Yeah, tell us about the evangel of the glory of the happy God.
Is that what you're talking about?
Do you see 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 11 right there on the screen?
Oh, I called in because I thought you were talking about those who teach about myths and
oh, well, that's part of it, because mythology, the mythology of eternal conscious torment in hell would be a contradiction to the evangel of the glory of the happy God.
oh, really? So how's that a myth?
Have you ever heard of the evangel of the glory of the happy God?
I have, and I also read about hell in the Bible too.
Oh, you have, huh? Would you say that hell is the lake of fire?
Well, that's the end. Yeah.
So hell is the lake of fire?
The lake of fire is the lake of fire.
Is hell the lake of fire?
What do you mean? I mean, are you trying to mix words to make different?
I'm asking you a question about hell. Since you love hell, tell us exactly what hell is. Is hell the lake of fire? Yes. Yes or no?
Why shouldn't you love God's justice?
Oh, I don't mind God's justice. It's just.
Well, then
God
you believe in.
I teach, just so you'll know, Mr. Proud Boy, I teach that the sinner can trust the judgments of God because the judgments of God are trustworthy.
That's right, and that's why His judgments are true. There is a hell.
No, I didn't say there is a hell. I'm asking you now, what exactly is a hell? Since you said there is a hell, what is a hell?
in the Revelation, it talks about if your name wasn't written in the Lamb's Book of Life, you'll be cast into hell forever and ever.
It doesn't say that you will be cast into hell. It says you'll be cast into the lake of fire. So
Yeah, okay.
what's the difference between hell and the lake of fire?
Ain't that God's justice?
What is the difference between hell and the lake of fire?
I'm talking about his justice, since you wanted to bring his justice up.
No, I'm asking you specifically
I'm
about
asking
hell.
about
Since
that.
you love hell, please tell us
I'm asking
exactly
about
what hell is.
Yeah, I'm asking about that because you're just trying to dart around it. You're trying to dart and dodge.
What?
You don't like his justice, and you don't believe in hell.
I love God's justice, and God is just, and God, according to Romans chapter 4, verse 5, God will be justifying the ungodly. So that's his justice, to justify the ungodly. Yeah. Romans chapter 4, verse 5. And how do you get to be justified? Well, at least you have to be ungodly before you can be justified.
It also says you believe on him and you won't perish. So if you don't believe, you perish.
All right, let's get down and jiggy with this hell thing. What exactly is hell?
Outer darkness.
Outer darkness.
Torment.
Did Jesus go to hell? Did Jesus go to hell?
Yeah, what was that like?
In Acts chapter 2, verse 37, it says Jesus went to hell. So
yeah. Did you know what happened there?
I would like to know what happened.
Did you know the saints of old had went there? A place where they were kept before Christ was even born.
So it's not
and Jesus went to hell.
It's not endless conscious torment?
Jesus went into hell. No, that's coming.
So is hell endless conscious torment?
The lake of fire is.
Is the lake of fire hell?
The lake of fire is endless, forever and ever, for eternity. Torment. In hell.
Is the lake of fire?
We can play with
the lake of fire hell?
Let's talk about reality. We'll play with words. We can just talk about the reality of what it's going to be.
Is the lake of fire hell?
And then you've been asking him the same question for like 10 minutes.
Is the lake of fire hell?
What do you want it to be? Because you like to make up words.
I want to know the truth. Tell me the truth. Is the lake of fire?
I don't know what's going on in your brain.
No, tell me what's going on in your understanding. What exactly is hell? Is hell the lake of fire?
There's people in hell right now, in torment.
That may or may not be true, but tell me exactly what is hell. Did Jesus go to hell? Therefore, Jesus went to eternal conscious torment.
It's separation from God. That's what it is.
So was Jesus separated from God in hell?
I don't read no scripture. It says that.
So you're not sure if hell is eternal separation from God, because Jesus went to hell.
Sure. I didn't say
according to Acts chapter 2, verse 37, Jesus went to hell, so that was eternal separation from God, right?
I didn't see no verse, so keep going.
What do you mean you don't see no verse?
You don't have no verses for that. Neither do I.
You want me to bring it up?
No, you're going to bring up something. I'm sure you will. And you'll try to twist it and get it out of context.
Okay, hang on just a second, just in case you believe God's word.
I do, and I'll show you one that overrides that.
You do? You will, huh?
Yeah. Matthew 25. We could banter about verses all day long if you want to. That's not the point. The point is, you said you trusted God's judgment. And then in your next breath, you don't. You say there's no hell. Or there's no lake of fire. Or there is no judgment.
I was slightly mistaken, Mr. Tim Theo. I will put it right here on the screen for you. Acts, I thought it was verse 37, but it's actually verse 31. Acts
Yeah.
chapter 2, verse 31. And here
Read
it
it.
is. What?
Read it.
Okay, here we go. Let me make it a little bit bigger for your itty bitty eyes.
Oh, wow. Who has
Acts
itty
chapter
bitty
2,
eyes?
verse
Eh?
31. King James
Who has
Bible.
the itty bitty eyes? You
Seeing
can't see past your big nose.
he, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell.
Whose
See,
soul?
so hell cannot be eternal separation from God if
For
Christ
him.
went to hell.
For him. Yes, he went there to free the souls that were there.
So you can't say that hell is
He wasn't
eternal
staying there.
separation from God. If Christ went to hell and his soul was not left in hell, it's not eternal separation from God. So can we come up with another definition? What exactly is hell?
Well, what is the lake of fire? Same place.
Are you certain that the lake of fire is hell?
Are you certain there is no hell?
I will tell you what I am certain about.
Yes. What are you certain about?
You
You haven't even. You're not dead yet. So how would you know what the other side consists of for you?
I am
without
certain
God?
that the word hell was not
I
used by Jesus.
I know what it's going to be like for you without God if you
Really?
don't accept it. Yeah. That's not a problem for me. I read the Bible.
Howdy and Spin, let me know if you want to comment. Just say pause it so you guys don't talk over it. Okay.
All right.
Maybe you should.
You read the Bible and I don't, huh?
Well, for as many years as you said you've been in church, I'm surprised at how you can't see past the big nose that you have with your little bitty eyes. That's amazing.
It is?
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
you're the one that started it. Have you seen the other side? Do you know what that's going to be like? You know for certainty. You trust what your mind tells you that you see in the Bible. Because not one of you, day to day to day, you can't tell me how your life is in Christ. What did he save you from, Ace?
Okay, here we go. And here is another verse by
What is that exactly saved you from?
don't keep sidetracking the question. We're trying to find out exactly what hell is. Okay.
What I thought.
So check this out.
can't
King
think
David said in Psalm chapter 16, verse 10, he said, "Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell."
Say he never was in hell.
So we're trying to figure out, Tim Theo, what exactly is hell?
David never was in hell.
You have said that hell is eternal separation from God, but King David says, "Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell." And in Acts chapter 2, it says that Christ went to hell, but God did not leave him in hell. So hell is not eternal separation from God. So what exactly is hell according to Tim Theo?
Do you know what you're reading when you're reading about David? The story of David?
What exactly is hell?
Was David in hell? Literal hell?
I don't know. It says, "Thou will not leave my soul in hell." That's what it says. I believe what it says. It says, "Thou will not leave my soul in hell." So
Then you
I
got
believe the Bible, and God will not. So hell is not permanent separation from God. So tell me, what is it?
You're so far off. I'm surprised you ain't from Mars.
Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell.
David
Christ,
never was in hell.
okay, was Christ in
That's
hell?
not a literal thought. That's not literal. Dave never
Well,
was in hell.
So was Christ in hell? Because it says in Acts 2:31, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell. So Christ's soul went to hell, right?
Sure.
Okay, so is hell eternal separation from God?
Yeah.
Okay, so Christ is still separated from God.
No. What I don't understand you.
I'm trying
don't
to
even
ask
make
you
sense.
to be very specific now, because the Bible is rather specific on this topic, and you just are ignorant of
You're
it.
not asking.
What exactly is
You're not
hell?
asking. You're the one ignorant. If anyone's ignorant, it's you.
What
Do you
exactly
know the
is
purpose
hell?
of Christ going into hell? Do you know the purpose of Christ going into hell?
Well,
And
it's
the
not
difference
eternal
between you
separation from God.
and
Do you
where
see
you
that?
will end up.
Look at the screen and tell me what the King James Bible says.
You're not, do you know the difference between Christ when he went into hell and where you will end up without God? You ain't Christ.
How about
Christ
David?
wasn't judged.
How about David? When David went to hell, did God leave him? Did God leave his soul in hell?
David wasn't in hell.
King David said, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell." So is hell eternal separation from God? Yes or no? Is hell eternal separation from God?
See the expression about David in literal hell. That's a totally different matter. He's
It
not
is?
talking about judgment when you die, because the Bible
not?
says you're born. It's appointed unto man once to die. After that, the judgment.
Right.
When you
Is that a
take your
good?
last
Is that a
breath,
good thing?
it's judgment. It's judgment. For some, it will.
So, can you tell me more clearly what exactly is hell? Because you won't say that hell is the lake of
It's a
fire.
place of torment. Okay, I'll just give you one simple term. Maybe I can get through that bone fragment in your head behind your eyes. It's called torment.
Hell is torment.
Yes, gnashing of teeth, torment, darkness.
Okay, when Christ went to hell, was he tormented?
That ain't the same thing. Christ didn't go there to get tormented.
So if Christ went to hell, was he tormented? If hell is torment.
Do you know the difference in the Old Testament? The place where the saints, the righteous went when they died. Do you know that's not the hell that's described in Revelation?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it then?
Does the Bible ever call?
What was?
Boys and girls, I'm interrupting so I can comment on this. It might seem unfair that I'm using Tim Theo as a foil, and because he's not rap tight for sure. But the real problem is that the regular Christians will not educate Tim Theo if they actually have an idea that hell is something other than the lake of fire and something other than eternal separation from God. They're not educating him. They're not going out of their way to educate this whole class of Christians that just love hell, like Tim Theo. And so they're at fault. They're letting this stuff exist right in their midst. They put up with Calvinists. They don't go out of their way to say, these guys are nuts. We don't want anything to do with them. Christianity welcomes them into the fold, and therefore, by default, they are saying that hell is legitimate somehow, even though it's not real popular among modern day Christian preachers to talk about hell. They won't deny it either. In fact, I saw that famous guy with the nice shiny teeth, Joel Osteen. I saw him being interviewed, and the interviewer asked him about hell, the eternal torture and so forth, about the matter, and he wouldn't say yes and he wouldn't say no. He skirted the question, probably because he didn't want to lose a serious amount of his audience. And so these preachers, Joel Osteen does not teach eternal conscious torment. He's really a teacher of self-improvement and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But he doesn't teach about hell, but he won't actually go up against these guys and against this, what shall we call it, this pimple on the face of Christian theology. And so, Tim Theo is a little bit of an extreme representation of the hell theology, but he's not much. He's not outside the loop. They won't teach him. They won't instruct him. They won't kick him out of the club for teaching this nonsense. Anyway, back to work.
That place called where the saints went to?
You said that you read the Bible.
In the old days. What was that place called? What was it like?
The Old Testament word is Sheol.
Yeah, what was it like?
There was nothing there.
There was nothing there except people, souls. That's where Jesus went. He didn't go there as a punishment for his sin. That's coming later.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
Did Jesus die for sins?
They were already atoned for.
Did Jesus die for sins?
Sure. Did he die for your sins?
Yes, he did. Did he die for all sins?
Do you accept that?
I do accept that. I do accept that.
Oh,
yeah.
great. Good. Then welcome to Christianity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Christian, can you tell me exactly what hell is? You seem to say that hell has changed over the years. What is it now?
Well, we have very few verses that describe it, and you know where they're found.
Yes, I do.
Since you're a Bible scholar more than anybody else, but you know exactly what it says. Jesus spoke of it. Matthew 7. I got that right? Matthew 7. Read that. See, you're getting nowhere, Ace. You got your little few that believe that the myth. You don't believe in Trinity. It's myth. That's a myth. You don't believe in age accountability. That's a myth. You don't believe in hell. That's a myth. See, when you speak about others as though they're the ones that don't understand, it's you that don't understand. It was talking about you. Every verse you quote about others and them being ignorant and locked up in stubbornness, that's you, Ace.
Okay, so far you have said that hell is eternal separation from God. And we have two verses on the screen. We have two verses on the screen that say that hell is not eternal separation from God, because David said, "Thou will not leave my soul in hell." And it says about Christ that neither was his soul left in hell.
Read that whole story about David before you go to bed tonight.
So start with Genesis and then read the whole Bible before I go to bed.
Read that whole story about that surrounds that quote that you quoted about David.
And then that will tell me that hell
David
is
was-
eternal separation
was-
from God.
He wasn't dead when he said that. Was he?
Okay, so you won't commit that hell is eternal separation from God. That's really good.
I've already committed, but
You committed that hell is eternal separation from God.
I already know. You just don't.
You're right. I don't know that. Okay,
you
so
will.
is hell the lake of fire?
Well, that's coming.
Is hell the lake of fire?
Yeah, where's Satan going? Is
So
he in there right now?
why does the Bible say that hell is cast into the lake of fire?
Because
How could-
you can't understand. You can't figure it out by your human logic. So you kind of putting things together that don't make sense.
Why
And it
does
doesn't
the
make
Bible
sense
say
when you
that
say it.
hell is cast into the lake of fire?
Yeah.
So is hell the
What's
lake
that
of
mean?
fire?
What's that mean?
I'm asking you, is hell the lake
What
of
the
fire?
hell is going to get cast into the lake of fire?
Is hell the lake of fire?
So now we know hell exists because you said it's going to get cast into the lake of fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Tell
what
me
is
what
that?
hell is.
What is it? Is it people? Is it God's enemies?
You're beginning
is
to sound like a babbling moron.
Oh, moron. Well, I thought that was you.
I'm asking you a very specific question because you
You can't tell me
believe
what's in hell.
you
I can't
worship
tell you
this
what's in
hell
hell. It's gonna
thing.
Can you? Can you
You
tell me
worship
what's in
this hell
hell?
thing. Is hell eternal conscious torment?
You'll find out. Now, won't you? It's appointed unto man once to die. After that, the judgment. There's no more after that. You're going to
Really?
be judged.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it says.
And you're inferring that the judgment is hell.
No, the judgment is either going to be judged righteous or you're going to be judged unrighteous by your works.
Uh-huh. So that equates to eternal conscious torment?
Forever and ever, without
So-
end.
So it's
The Bible
eternal.
says without end, forever,
Without what?
without end, forever and ever.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay, there you have it, boys and girls. Hell is somehow eternal separation from God, even though the Bible says that King David will not be left in hell forever.
He wasn't dead when he said that.
So,
I don't understand you, Ace. You got to be dumb to think that. I don't know.
and
what goes
also,
on in
boys
that?
and girls, Tim Theo says that hell is eternal conscious torment, even though the Bible
Yeah.
says that hell is cast into the lake of fire. He won't commit to whether or not hell is the lake of fire, and he won't commit
Without
that
God.
hell is exactly eternal separation from God.
Without God, look what you got to look forward to.
Uh-huh.
That's the Bible. That ain't me, because you need to read it.
And are we not reading it right now?
Even you believe in partial punishment. You call it the eon. There's a part in there that you do believe there's going to be. You call it correction, so you try to make it sound light. Try to take its effectiveness away from it by using different words.
Mm-hmm.
You say you do believe it's only for a part time, don't you?
So, all right. So let's go with what you're saying. I'll concede that hell is eternal conscious torment. Okay. So who goes to hell?
The wicked?
The wicked. Are we all wicked?
No.
We are not all wicked. Even though the Bible
No.
says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, we are not all wicked.
Those that believe are found righteous. Those aren't the wicked. Maybe you once were. But with Christ, you are righteous.
Did he die for the wicked?
Yeah, the ones that believe.
Does his death for the wicked mean anything to God?
Have you accepted him?
Did God accept Jesus dying for the wicked?
Have you accepted him?
It doesn't matter what I accept. Did God accept
does.
Jesus
Or
dying
that does.
for the wicked?
That does good. Yeah, it does.
Did God accept Jesus' death for all sinners?
The Bible says if you believe, you won't perish.
Perish. What
If
does that mean?
you- It's not
How do you
him.
go from perish to eternal conscious torment?
That's what it means to perish.
How do you know that's what it means?
Eternally lost. Eternally lost.
How do you know it means eternally lost?
It's what it means to perish. What does it mean to believe? See, he's making a distinction in that verse. Those who believe and those who want to perish who don't believe.
Yeah, and so what does perish mean?
Eternally lost.
Are you
For
sure?
eternity. Yeah.
Are you sure that they're eternally lost if they perish?
Yeah. But to you, it's just a word game.
Well, where is the word eternal and the word perished showing up in the same sentence in the Bible? The Bible has some 30,000
It doesn't have to
verses.
say the same sentence. You have to know the meaning by the Spirit. You know what it means.
So by
You
the
don't have
holy,
that.
loving Spirit of God, you can know that sinners are going to be burned to a crisp eternally.
Well, didn't he burn the people in Sodom? Alive, he did.
Did they remain alive or did they die?
He burned them alive.
And did they die?
Yes, they burned alive.
Okay, so
He
they
burned-
died.
Yeah, burned them alive.
He burned them and they died.
So you don't think he's capable of it?
They died.
You don't think God's capable of an act like that? He
They
just did it.
died.
You can read the story.
They died, right?
Have you ever held somebody
Are they
underwater?
still alive and still being tortured in flames?
Have you ever held somebody underwater and they drowned?
Answer the question, jackass. Are they alive or are they dead?
He burned them alive.
Yes, and did they
You
stay
know what you
alive or
would
did
do?
they die?
Yeah. See the acts of God? It's
Did they
justice.
stay alive or did they die?
It's justice. He burned them.
He burned them.
Disintegrate.
That's right. And did they die?
Burned them alive.
He burned them alive and then they died.
Yeah. Because
And
they
so
were
they're
wicked.
dead.
They were wicked.
They are now dead.
Could you imagine anyone?
How long were they
Any
alive? How long
Can you
were they
imagine
alive
any
before they
person?
died?
If I burned somebody alive, you know what I would get for that? The death penalty.
So should we give the death penalty to God?
Well, that's what you would like to do.
No,
Would you
I
like
would
to
like to
do that?
believe the truth. And the truth is,
Ain't that the truth?
God will not
truth,
leave
the
my
fact is-
soul in
The
hell.
fact is, he removed the righteous from those cities and burned alive the other ones. They're destroyed.
Cynthia, when he burned them alive, did they stay alive or did they die?
He's going to have to apologize to everybody.
Did they stay alive or did they die?
They died. Duh.
Okay. So they're dead.
Oh, here you go. You got to twist her back. You got to twist it to some kind of little universal doctrine. He burned them alive, dude, because they were wicked.
Right.
And you don't think there is a hell with torment.
And that's funny to you because you love the notion of eternal conscious
fool.
torment in hell.
You're a fool. I didn't do it.
You
God did.
love the conscious torment in hell. Eternal conscious torment in hell makes you
I
laugh.
didn't do it. I didn't do it. He did.
You
didn't
laugh
burn it.
at eternal
did.
conscious torment for the wicked.
I didn't do it.
So
He
you
did it.
laugh at the eternal
Why are you
conscious
mad at
torment
me?
for the wicked.
Because you can't believe that God can do something like that. What a laugh, dude. You read the story and then you want to move on because you don't like what you see when you see that. I know you don't. And you don't believe God can eternally punish somebody in a lake of fire. Look what he did to those people.
Do you know what the lake of fire is called in the
You know what
Bible?
he did?
Hey,
And he drowned. He drowned everyone but 8 people.
I know that you're proud because the last time you and I talked, you admitted that you were proud and you were not humble. And so I'm going to call you Proud Boy. So let me ask you, Proud Boy.
Good. Hey,
Do
thanks,
you know
Ace.
what the Bible calls
With
the
your
lake of
beady eyes
fire?
and your long nose.
If you love the Bible, would you like to know what the Bible calls the lake of fire?
I just told you what God did. You can't accept it. You're getting mad. And you can't fathom God.
Okay, so instead of me getting mad, do you want me to laugh with you about burning people in hell forever and ever? Okay, I will.
I'm just reading the Bible.
The wicked are gonna be burned in hell forever and ever.
Why didn't he
How am
burn
I
Lot?
doing there, Tim Theo?
Why
Am I
didn't he
laughing just right?
Why didn't he burn Lot with him? Why? Oh, no answer.
I don't have to answer all of your questions because
Why
I'm
didn't he
asking.
burn Lot with him?
Let's go back to
He's
the
wicked,
original
like
question.
you said a while ago. We're all wicked. Well, why didn't he burn Lot with him?
Everyone
family.
dies. The wages of sin is death. You're going to die.
No,
You're getting
no,
older
no, no,
every
no,
day,
no,
Tim Theo. You're not looking too well, my friend.
Nope.
You're
He
on
let-
the
he
way
let
to
Lot
death.
out. If you find one righteous, will you spare the city? He found one righteous, and he freed him from that city. And the others got burned alive.
All right, so let me tell you, Tim Theo, what the Bible calls the lake of fire.
It's in the Bible.
Let me tell you what the Bible calls the lake of fire. It says that the lake of fire is the second death.
Yeah.
It does
You
not
look at
say
it.
the lake of fire is eternal conscious torment. It says it is the second death. Do you know
That's
who it is the second death for? It's for
That's
all
bad.
those people who have already died one time and now they must die a second time.
No, it's bad.
The very language of the Bible says the lake of fire, which is the second death.
See the importance of you accepting Christ.
And death is a pretty serious topic
Do you see the importance?
because death is the wages of sin. And guess what? Death is also the very last enemy that God will remove and undo. He will bring everyone out of death, including the second death, because
It's
death
what?
will not have the last say. It will not have the last victory. In that great day, Tim Theo, we will all be able to sing, "Oh, death, where is your sting? Oh, death, where is your victory?" God will abolish the lake of fire and bring everybody in the lake of fire, out of the lake of fire, everybody into second death, out of the second death, and he will abolish death altogether as the last thing on his calendar of events to do.
Yeah. You seen this calendar?
Yes, I have. It's called 1 Corinthians 15, 20 through 28. That's God's calendar.
So you were sitting beside him when he made his calendar out, and you knew exactly what he meant by it.
No, I got a carbon copy of it. It's called the Bible.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
1
like
Corinthians 15, 20 through 28 is found in the Bible.
you're a supreme being since he told you and nobody else about his plan.
His plan
know
is to become all in all,
You know,
not all in some. His plan is not to become some in some. His plan is not to become a little more in a few.
You know every detail. You must have been standing beside him when he created the world and showed you his plans, didn't he? You're awesome, Ace.
Thank you so much for your acknowledgement.
Never admitting to a mistake or a lie or an untruth. It'll never work.
Acts chapter 2, verse 31 says, He, seeing before this, spake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell, neither was his flesh seeing decay or corruption. So Christ went to hell, but God did not leave him in hell. David said, Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell. So hell is not a permanent situation. God can and does bring people out of hell.
David wasn't in hell.
It says, Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell.
Yeah, while he was alive.
So
where
what?
was hell when he was alive?
What do you want him to do? Wait until after
Oh, we
his
got Tim
resurrection
Theo
to
in the
write that
chat.
message?
What was he talking about? How did he know
Yeah, I
about
saw
hell?
that.
Maybe he was talking about his experience.
Okay,
was
listen,
going
I'm growing
We're
weary
talking
of
about
you.
hell, like as I know it.
Okay, thank you for visiting. It was really wonderful catching up. Come back again at a later date when you can make more sense. Hello, God saves all.
Hello.
Well, sir.
It was quite the interesting conversation.
And I think it's, like an analogy, it's like the pimple on the face of Christian theology. They won't clean him up. They let him get away with that shit.
Did he say he was in a church or like it had a particular ecclesia he was?
Yeah, he goes to some kind of church. I don't know what it is, but every once in a while, somebody will go to a church like Joel Osteen's church. And I think I've actually seen one video on YouTube of somebody who went to Joel Osteen's church, but they'll often, throughout the years, they'll go to somebody like Joel Osteen's church, a Tim Theo type of guy, and they'll stand up in the audience and start preaching that hell business, and then the ushers have to come and take them away. We don't want you talking about this, but they won't themselves straighten the matter out.
I wonder if there's any I should look into this. Joel Osteen talking about eschatology and hell and stuff. Every time I see him, he's just talking about the plans that God has for your life.
Mm-hmm.
You sow $1,000 today in our ministry, God will reward you threefold or something, tenfold.
Yeah. So Joel Osteen is a grifter. Which, speaking of the idea that regular old Christian pastors will not address the specific details of this eternal conscious torment and hell business, even our YouTube pals who take a leadership position like Praise I Am and Charles from the Layman Seminary, they won't straighten the matter out either. They let it slide.
I was thinking like everyone's all gung-ho on the relishing in the eternal conscious torment of I wonder, like, why aren't there like people having services to celebrate God's? Apparently, when we have our brains fixed in heaven, we will laugh and celebrate, but so like we should try to have the mind of God now and try and get to celebrating early. Why not?
Why not?
The pastor says, look to the person left to the left of you. Look to the fellow on your right. Most likely, one or more of these two fellows will be. Let's laugh and celebrate their eventual torment at the hands of God.
I was talking to the Christian lady named Linda, and she said to me, she was a Baptist, and she said that most Baptists are going to hell. And then over on Praise I Am's, it's a regular featured event where, he'll get a room full of 10 people and all of them are yelling to each other, "You're going to hell. No, you're going to hell. No, you're going to hell." They're all supposedly Christians.
Your great grandmother and your grandparents are burning in hell. Let's laugh and celebrate, and it's what did he call it? Ineffable pleasure.
Yeah.
We need to be in ecstasy thinking about Edna with her skin melting off the bones, and
I miss Edna.
She's down there now, screaming up at us.
So in Lehman Seminary, he seems to be a serious Bible student, right? I mean, he's arguing about free grace and technicalities of free grace, and he's arguing about once saved, always saved. Why is this a forbidden topic with him?
Again, from what I got, that was if universalism is true, then I don't need to argue against it.
Hey, it's the Proud Boy. Hello, Proud Boy.
Hey, quick question for you today.
Yeah.
If there's no consequence for sin, then why did Christ die?
Well, that's kind of a ridiculous question.
No, because it's a question.
Right. And I will answer, but do your best not to step on my toes while I'm answering. The consequence of sin is death. I don't know if you've heard this, but the wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is not eternal conscious torment in hell. The wages of sin is death.
Oh, death?
Yeah, the wages of sin is...
For my sin, I just get to lay down and die.
On my toes. You're stepping on my toes and won't let me answer. Okay, I get you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Proud Boy. Here, I'll bring you up on the screen so everybody can pay attention to you.
That's it? Is just death? I just to get to lay down and, I just get to go to sleep? That's a consequence?
Yes, that is the consequence of sin.
Oh, wow.
You're laughing again because you love eternal conscious torment in hell, and you laugh at those who are going to...
There's no consequence for sin. We just get to die. Ooh, whoop-de-doo.
Does the Bible say the wages of sin is death?
We're all going to die anyway.
Yeah. Isn't that serious enough?
That's a consequence?
And hope is the resurrection. Have you ever heard of the resurrection?
Seems kind of minute.
Have you ever heard of the resurrection?
Oh, yeah. I get to be resurrected and no consequences. Oh, yeah. I get to be resurrected and no consequence.
Go ahead, Dennis, and fix your other device. Okay, so the wages of sin is death. When Adam sinned, he brought death into our experience. We are all descendants of Adam. Romans 5:12. We are all descendants of Adam. And because of Adam's one sin, Romans 5:12 says that death
We all get to die.
that death passed through into all mankind.
Like a treat, not a consequence.
And 1 Corinthians 15:22 says that even as in Adam all die, so in Christ shall all be made alive.
That sounds like a treat. It don't sound like a consequence. That's just going to sleep. Death.
He gets the good news of everyone being endlessly tormented. Give him the real good news.
I haven't even got
He's
to
not
that
interested
yet.
in. He's not really interested in the resurrection and all that stuff.
According to you,
Doesn't titillate his fancies. Doesn't get his spine
to
tingling.
sleep. Oh,
Talking about the resurrection.
why do we need to be resurrected?
Because we're dead.
Ace, I have a question for you.
Okay, go
What's
ahead.
that mean? What's that mean? I get to live
When
how
the
I want, so who cares?
Let me ask Ace
And then
a
I
question.
get my cake and eat it too in the end.
Ace,
Hey,
when the
composting or something.
flood hit, what happened to the people in the flood?
They died.
Yeah. Yeah. They were wicked, they died, and
When-
they get their
when
cake and ice
Sodom and
cream.
When God hit Sodom and Gomorrah with sulfur,
Yeah.
fire, and brimstone, what happened to the
They
people?
got burned alive by God, and when they die,
They-
they get their cake and ice cream.
They listen. Can you control your thoughts for a moment? Let me ask Ace a question, because you had the floor and you're disrupting and you're reproaching everybody.
Well,
So
he
I'm
said I
trying
had
to
the
ask-
floor. He didn't take it away yet, did he?
I'm trying to ask him a question because
He
there's
said
other
I had
people
the
here.
floor.
There's other people here that want
He said
to
I-
express their scriptural perspective from the deep
No,
end
I
of the
don't.
pool, because you're in the shallow end, dude.
You just took away your scriptural perspective.
So
Because you just
before the coming of Christ, I want to make something. Tim, he's going to mute you if
Nothing
you keep it
matters.
up.
Nothing matters. You.
Okay, go
Before
ahead.
Christ walked on the earth, whenever somebody died, they died. The Christian perspective after Christ came and was crucified was that now you don't die and just go to Sheol. Now, if you don't accept Christ, you die and go to hell forever, which makes Christ coming the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, because before Christ came, nobody went to hell. They just died. When the flood happened, they went under, it was a glug glug, and it was over. They were no longer conscious and they were no longer here. They perished. The Christian perspective is that the coming of Christ is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, because before that, they just died.
Well, there's that verse that says he didn't come to save the world, but to condemn it.
As
Okay,
a former
Tim.
preacher who preached hell from an Armenian perspective many, many, many times, when this light went on and this bell was rung, I couldn't unring it. And your bell needs to be rung and your light needs to go on, because the way you are talking is profoundly ignorant. And you're reading scripture from a vantage point that is so mainstream Christian that it is tragically ignorant. God doesn't love people unconditionally and then burn them in the basement because they don't love him back. This is tragically, tragically ignorant. You don't burn your kids in the basement.
Okay, I'm going to turn his mic back on. Let's see what he's got to say. Oh, he turned it off. Go ahead,
Is it
Mr.
on?
Proud.
Is it on?
Yes.
None of that matters. There's no consequences. There's no hell. Let's just all die and get over with it.
What did Jesus do,
cake.
Tim?
Let's get
What
our
did
cake
Jesus
and ice
do?
cream.
What did Jesus do on that stake? Nothing?
For what? There was no
He suffered
consequence
for
to
6
begin
hours
with.
for nothing? He
There
suffered
was
for
no
6 hours
consequence
for
to begin
nothing.
with. What was the
You're not
consequence?
listening. Why did
died
he
for no
suffer on the
consequence.
cross?
He died for nothing. That's what you're saying.
He died for sin.
Because
He's the Lamb
who
of God
cares?
that takes away the sin of the world.
Who cares? Sin doesn't mean anything to you.
Sin has been taken away.
But he died for sin. It didn't mean nothing.
He died for sin. He's the Lamb of God that takes
doesn't
away the
mean
sin of the
nothing.
world.
There's no consequence, so it don't mean nothing.
There's no reason with you. I might as well be talking to a woman who's an
You are a
irrational.
woman.
No, you're acting like a woman because you can't.
Right,
You can't
transgender.
understand.
Are you a woman?
You can't understand
Trying
what
to see
Christ did
through
on
the
that
eyes
cross,
and what's the
and
matter
God
with
has
you?
blinded you, and that's fine.
Can't
God's
stand it.
blinded you.
Can't take it, can you?
You notice that I don't come over to your channel. Where's your channel, Tim?
You can't take it.
You need to start a
dumb.
channel.
I'm look dumb.
Well, you know, the finished work is a serious thing. It's
What
more
finished
serious.
work? There's
It's
no
more
consequence.
serious. It's the finished work is more serious than your dark mind can comprehend.
He died for no consequences. You don't get him anyway.
Tim,
there's no consequence for your sin.
sinners have
So why did he
consequences
die?
already in the world.
There's no
They didn't even have
consequence for
to.
your
They
sin.
didn't
You
even
just
have
go
to
to,
be
you
here.
go to sleep. Ooh, sleep is precious to me. Ooh, I get to sin and I get to lay down and get my cake and ice cream. Ooh. Listen to your message.
Yeah, it's called good news. It's called the Lamb of God took away the sin of the world and will take all the sin of the world away. In the Old Testament, when the Lamb was shed inside the Holy of Holies, everybody there was covered. Everybody was covered. They didn't have to do anything. How much more the blood of the Son of God? How much more does he take away? If the Lamb in the Old Testament, in the Holy of Holies, took away sin for everybody, how much more the blood of the Son of God? That's the good news. And you will believe it ultimately. Because if I am lifted up, I'll draw all men to myself. And if we are not drawn, then God will drag us. So we're not backing down on that.
He left. I didn't kick him out. He left on his own.
Ace,
it's disheartening to hear somebody who's been so brainwashed and they can't even tell you what the cross accomplished. They believe the biggest part of the story, the most important part of the story, is sinners being punished. I mean, where did he get that idea?
From prior Christians like Augustine and Tertullian. Go ahead, Howdy.
The verse that was in my head when he's talking about, maybe we could talk about Christ's accomplishments. Maybe we could talk about sin. The verse that I think ties those concepts together a little bit is that think in Romans it says that he condemned sin in the flesh. What does that mean?
Exactly. I was going to ask you.
The other thing I was thinking, like his misgivings about reconciliation is this, like, you're telling me that it's going to be good? And I was like, let's say he was talking to someone who wasn't a believer. And what if they told him and he said, oh, you have all these sins, you're going to get punished, but if you believe, then you don't. Couldn't that person make the same argument against him? He's like, what? You mean I can do whatever I want and I won't get punished if I believe? Wow, you're telling me there's no consequence for my actions? You're telling me I get forgiven? It seems like someone could, manufacture a parody argument against Christianity more broadly from his intuition. But my main remark is that the whole good news idea, it's like you're telling him, hey, Christ was resurrected from the dead and won't die again. And he's like, so what? I'm not excited. I need to put my magnifying glass and watch the ants burn. I need that spine-tingling torment. The resurrection is not cutting it. Forgiveness of sins, it's not enough.
Yeah, the blood of the Son of God is not enough. We need more blood. We need more punishment. As if that when you make mistakes on this planet, your fellow mortals don't hold you responsible for those mistakes. If they don't initially, they will eventually. If you make enough mistakes on this planet, nobody gets away with their mistakes and their sins and their offenses on this planet. The idea that you can just run around, but see, when you haven't been given faith and when you've been infiltrated with dread teach, the blood of the Son of God is not enough. We need more blood. People need to be punished. It's as if God is saying, there's the blood. Is that enough? Nope, we want more. Because that doesn't soothe us. If that's not the personification of the death cult mind, I don't know what is. Because you can say that you can prove from the Old Testament right through. And when you even say things like, what happened to the people who died in the flood? Doesn't matter. The idea that Jesus coming is the worst thing that ever happened could only be orchestrated and authored by the ego and a death cult. To twist that, especially when Paul says clearly in 2 Corinthians 5:14, we died with him, and then he says in 14, and then in 19, I think he says that God is holding no offenses against anyone. He's conciliated to man. All right, well, if God is conciliated to us, Tim, the sky is blue. It doesn't matter. He actually said, the sky's not blue here. It's dark here. Yeah. If you don't have faith, you don't have faith.
He's so cute.
He loves to disrupt your channel, Ace.
So howdy. Imagine Tim Theo going over to Charles's web channel. What would he say and how would he be received?
I don't know, because I guess it would depend on his soteriology. I mean, maybe Tim could be a free gracer and say what he said, even.
I found that video, by the way.
Which one?
The one about free will.
Oh yeah, Sam Harris.
Kind of off the topic. Have you seen it?
I may have. You want me to bring it up?
I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, it's in.
By the way, we can't hear you if you are talking.
Maybe he's been raptured.
Yeah, he often has Wi-Fi problems.
So what's there to... Because Paul said, I've determined to know nothing except Christ and him crucified. So they've determined to know nothing except the lake of fire and what's their other...
Ask your question again.
So Paul said something, I know nothing except Christ and him crucified.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem to know nothing except the lake of fire and something else.
Yeah.
They put a couple of links in.
Yeah, I got it. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me make sure they're the same link. Nope, there's two links. Okay, hang on.
Ace, one of the things I wanted to say is that one of the frustrating parts of Tim's argument is that people didn't even ask to be born or ask to be here, and we can't even control what comes into our mind.
Yeah,
which makes us not responsible for those things. And to take a person who might have been here 20 years in a 13.8 billion year universe and then say you're responsible, it's kind of tough. Anyways, this is a good video.
All right, here we go. Sam Harris, free will is an illusion.
He's an atheist, by the way.
About the illusion of free will. Now most people think we have a strong subjective experience of free will. And the problem is just that we can't map it on to physical reality. This, I think, is an illusion. I think we actually do not feel as free as we think we do. This relies on us not paying very close attention to what it's like to be us. If you pay attention, you can see that you no more author the next thing you think than the next thing I say. Thoughts just emerge in consciousness. We are not authoring them. That would require that we think them before we think them. If you can't control your next thought and you don't know what it's going to be until it arises, where's your freedom of will? The truth is, we feel or presume an authorship over our actions, over thoughts, over a certain channel of information in our conscious minds that is illusory. So how can we be free as conscious agents if everything that we consciously intend is caused by things we did not intend and of which we are entirely unaware? We can't. From the perspective of your conscious mind, you are actually no more responsible for your next thought than you are for your birth into this world. You have not built your mind. And in moments where you seem to build it, where you finally take the reins of your life and you decide to acquire knowledge or learn a new skill, the only tools at your disposal are those which you've inherited from moments past. No one picks their parents or the society to which they were born. No one picks the moment in history in which they live. No one picks their genes or the environmental influences that determine the structure of their brain. You are no more responsible for the exact structure and state of your brain in this moment than you are for your height. What you do based on conscious, predetermined decisions says more about you than anything else. Thoughts simply arise in the mind. But the idea that we as conscious beings are deeply responsible for the characters of our minds simply can't be mapped onto reality. And if we want to be guided by reality, rather than by the fantasy lives of our ancestors, I think we have to revise our view. Speak tonight
see,
about the illusion.
Go ahead.
I was going to say something that you might be interested in. Did you see that the price of silver has went through the roof?
Yes, I did. How much is it now?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. I didn't look at it recently. I guess I could look it up real quick.
It was 95 the other day, brother.
I thought it hit triple digits.
Oh, did it? Did it go up over 100?
Let me see.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating, Ace, that
103.2. It went up 6% since yesterday.
yeah.
This is good news. Do you know why, Howdy?
Why is that?
I think that in the larger scheme of things, people are recognizing that there's too many dollar bills out there. So they might as well put it in something that doesn't inflate with the printing press. So if you don't want to buy silver, you might as well buy peanut butter. Cool. It's going to go up in price too.
I hear there's gobs of cash in a warehouse in Minneapolis. They don't know what to do with it because they can't wire it to Somalia anymore.
Oh, that's funny. That's
He really did stop them. The government really has stopped wiring welfare money out of the country if they can do that.
Well, sir.
German economists have been asking to repatriate the 1,000 metric tons of gold from the U.S. Fed.
Good luck
I
with
don't know
that.
if they're going to get it. Yeah.
Good luck getting that back.
I'll be right back.
$31. Yeah, doubled or tripled investment over year. It's pretty good. Yeah, gold went crazy too. I would say the dollar is worthless, and people slowly realize it.
The dollar is worthless.
Oh, I just washed my face.
Not to disagree, but it is worth less. It's worth a lot less.
I liked the first Economist from back in the day when they were going to say, well, we're just going to make it so that you can't exchange it, for precious metals or whatever. And the Economist said, no amount of power a state has will have enough power to make something valuable when it's not. And so eventually it's just going to be the paper it's printed on.
One consideration, though, one idea. The greenback has become worth less, despite the fact that it's used by many societies. It's still the world's reserve currency. And they're trying to switch over to cryptocurrency. Well, let's just use cryptocurrency. Well, what is backing cryptocurrency? Nothing. It's a fiat currency. So it's all a matter of who decides where the value is. If I can take my $100 bill and go down to the grocery store and get groceries, even though you can't get $100 worth of groceries anymore, is it any different than taking $100 worth of Bitcoin? Or, of course, it's not $100 worth of Bitcoin. It's not the same. But the point is, isn't Bitcoin just fiat anyways? Nothing's backing it. So where does this go?
For us, we're going to go from beans to beans.
That's right. Right. Let her go, baby.
I was watching a YouTube little miniature documentary on The Wizard of Oz and the meaning behind the book, not the movie, but the book itself. And I was kind of amazed that The Wizard of Oz was a cowboy version of The Matrix.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
And then the other day, I was watching some John Levi episodes about the insane asylums that all popped up at the same time in the 1850s, all over the country, all over the world. The insane asylums, they shoved people in there. And the theory with these mudflood people is that there was this huge mudflood, and the people remembered how it used to be before the Agent Smiths came along, the cowboy version of the Agent Smiths. They didn't want people remembering, so they stuck them all in the insane asylums just to disappear them. And one thing leads to another. And so there was like millions of orphans that they had to deal with. And thus the orphan trains. And I thought, man, are we going through the Matrix story over and over again every couple of 100 years? Money is real. Crypto is real because I say it's real.
I think it's about 80 years. About every 80 years there's a reset.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the guy who had the quote about, I know Voltaire said that fiat will always return to its intrinsic value of zero. And I really like this other quote from someone in America. I forget his name. I'm going to look it up. It was like, no one will ever have enough power to make something valuable that isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of something God in the Bible says. He's calling what is not as if it were. It's like what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling this paper what is not as if it were.
And also, I love the quote by Ludwig von Mises. He said, every artificial expansion of money and credit is always followed by an equal contraction of money and credit.
Well, we got our silver guy, the official silver guy backstage.
Oh, we do?
Captain Whatever and Truth.
Uh-huh.
I'm not just a silver guy. I'm gold and silver.
You been stacking?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're gonna reset the currency within like the next 4 years.
I'm a gold, silver, and American dollar guy.
I'm a
I
beans.
will take every bit of filthy lucre
I'm a beans guy.
that your defiled conscience won't allow you to hold. And I accept PayPal in the name of our Lord Jesus.
Well, thank you very much.
He's so funny though. You can't take him serious, right?
But he takes himself serious.
No, I don't think he does. I think he's an enigma. Good old
I
Tommy.
like Tommy. I like Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like radio. He just says things and it somehow mathematically equates to the truths of the universe. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we're experiencing right now is money printer turned on. Interest rates will continue to decline by decree of the emperor. And then, probably within the next year and a half or so, we'll be paying $85 for those beans you're stacking over there, Ace.
Love those beans.
Yeah.
You can call me Jack and the Beanstalk.
One thing I don't like is the last time this happened, the government sent in their boys with the pointy sticks and said, sorry about all that. We're going to take your medals now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
1933. Yeah, that's absolutely. They'll do the same thing. They just nationalize the gold. They'll be like, hey, we'll give you a great deal. $15,000 an ounce. There you go. And then they reset the currency, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Mm.
Yeah. Fun time. They don't even need to send people door to door. They just They'll be like, hey, you got a chance to turn it in. If you don't want to, we'll just impose like a 90% windfall tax or something if you try to sell any of your gold.
Isn't that what they did with the used car market? Got swallowed up by that cash for clunkers thing where they bought all the used cars and now there's not a used car market anymore.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They nationalized the used car market.
And
They're
that's
like, okay.
that's why everybody's watching the Rockford Files now, so they can see cars from the 60s and 70s driving around on the road.
Those are better cars. I wouldn't know. I drive a Jeep. So those haven't changed at all over the past 60 years. But it's interesting that you brought up a good question, Howdy, of like, so what is the new, if it's by decree, that's what the word fiat means. It's by decree. So they just say, okay, this is, what we're doing. But it happened in 1933 where the government, they went, okay, so here's how the whole thing went down, interestingly enough, is it was originally a payment system. Okay, so you would exchange value for value. And in 1933, after they nationalized the gold, there was a House Joint Resolution 192. If you read about that, that's when they said, okay, we got all the gold, we've taken all the gold from the people. Now we're going to go from a system of payment where we exchange value for value to a system of discharge where we're going to exchange debt for debt. And that's pretty much what they've been doing for the past 90 years is that. Nixon officially closed out that gold window. He took the last bit of gold out of the monetary system in 70, what was it, 73, 72? But the whole purpose of them repatriating the gold or nationalizing it in 33 was they slowly took the gold out of the dollar. They didn't do it just all at once. It would have been too messy. So they just like took little bits over the course of 40 years. And then they're like, see, look, now we're just discharge. You're just exchanging debt for debt. And the only countries could really use gold after 1933. It was just other countries using it as a medium of exchange. But France and Germany kept trying to repatriate their gold from the United States. They're like, hey, you got gold backing your money. We don't like your money. We just want the gold. So that's why they were like, okay, we got to stop that. So they actually even stopped the countries from repatriating it. And who knows where we're at now? Is there any gold in Fort Knox? Probably not. So far, we probably got leased out 50 years ago. So what are they going to?
We're not a big fan of audits, so I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, they'll just back the new money with probably like a fractional amount of gold. Like some percentage of it will be backed to the gold. And then the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, they have a basket of commodities that they've been weighting things against for like 30 or 40 years. So they'll probably just go to that kind of, the rest of it will be backed by a basket of commodities. So the biggest countries that are the biggest producers essentially will be the determining factor of, okay, we're gonna back the rest of this currency. Let's say it's like 40% backed by gold. The other 60% will be backed by whatever basket of commodities they choose, and then everything will be tokenized anyway. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you buy a coffee from Starbucks, and you get the coffee, but when you make that payment with that cryptocurrency, there's like a token created on the blockchain that then Starbucks will be able to package them all up, right? They're like, okay, we sold 50 million coffees this month. We're going to package all these tokens up and sell it off to Wall Street. And then you get like infinite leverage. So good for them.
Well, boys and girls, I'm going to wind it up there. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you, Tim Theo, for being such a delightful part of this show and telling us all why we should laugh at people burning in hell forever, because it's just delightful to the so-called Christian mind. Yeah.
Did he say that? We got to laugh at him?
Yeah, did you not read the headline of the show today? The
I mean,
title?
I did, but I didn't know he actually said we should laugh at them.
He's not the only one. Your pal Jill also laughs at people burning in hell.
I'm clutching my pearls right now. Jill said that?
He has said that in the past, and so he's a Calvinist, and Tim Theo is a Freewiller, so they all laugh at anybody who's going to burn in hell. And I thought to ask you the question, are you going to laugh as well?
No,
Why?
because it's not a matter of funniness to me.
Well, it seems to me, Mr. Preterist, that you can be in heaven for 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, 2,000,000. It didn't matter how long you're there. The moment you think of your friends and loved ones in hell, you will have pain in your mind and in your heart of regret and so forth for your friends burning in hell. And as soon as you have pain, then heaven turns into hell.
That is a fair conundrum that you put forth for sure for the eternal conscious torment or annihilationist people.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to scoot and check back later. Lord willing, we'll fire up the StreamYard again and explore God's grace, love, and mercy.
Adios, Ace.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.